I was denied a visa today despite having full funding from a school that covered my tuition and my living expenses. What should I do? Does this relate to you? Have you ever been in a situation where you were denied visa and you do not even understand why? Because to you, everything was okay. Aside the number one fact that visa is mostly denied being financial, another reason why visas are mostly denied is because we are not able to prove to the visa officer beyond reasonable doubt that we are going to return to our home countries. Whenever you are doing a visa application, it's mostly a temporal visa. A temporal visa means that you are going and you would have to come back. When you are going on a visit, you would have to come back. When you are going for school, you would have to come back. So during the application process, one thing that you should pay so much attention to is that the documents you submit is proven to the visa officer that you have so much going on in your home country that you are not interested in staying in this country where you are applying the visa to. And these things are called home ties. Things that ties you to your home country. Things that will compel you to leave at the end of your visit or your school. Okay, my name is Edwina. Welcome to my channel. Please consider subscribing. Okay, in today's video we are going to go through how to prove home ties to visa officers, because recently it has been one very major reason why many visas are being refused, that the visa officer is not sure that you are going to go back to your home country at the end of your visit. If you have any question with regards to home ties, please put them in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer all these questions to the best of my ability. Now let me also add that I am neither an immigration lawyer nor an immigration advisor. I am giving this information based on my personal experiences of people close to me, and what I have learned on my own with regards to these issues. Okay, thank you. So how do we prove home ties when we are applying for a visa? And what is home ties at all? So home ties is anything that ties you to your home country that will make you want to go back home. Anything that will compel you to go back home. The first tie I would want to talk about is family. You are married. That is a tie. And you are not traveling with your spouse, because if you are married and the two of you are traveling, then it means you still do not have a home tie. So you are married and you are traveling alone. Your spouse is back home. That is reason enough to come back home. It is even better when you have children also back home. So you are married and have children. So your wife is a tie, your children are also ties. Now, how do you prove this when you are putting in your application? You will need to add your marriage certificate to your visa application to show that you are married. Is that enough? I would say no. The visa officers are aware that people have their way of getting these documents even when they are not married. So the marriage certificate will not be enough. What can you add to the marriage certificate to show the visa officer that indeed you are married? You can add photos that you have taken with your spouse. Now, these photos should not be limited to wedding photos, okay? Because the visa officer is also aware that some of these weddings can be staged or studio photos, but rather everyday photos of couples who live together. So photos of like you two go to a program and you take a photo, like you go out to eat and you have taken a photo. I mean, these normal everyday photos that you need to have a personal relationship with someone to have. You went on a vacation with your spouse and you took photos. These photos communicate more than just your marriage certificate and wedding pictures. Okay, so yes, you can be married to someone, but I mean the connection, the photos is what really tell the depth of connection you have with someone. Have you heard that statement that a photo is worth 1,000 words? So looking at photos alone, you can tell that these couple are so close to each other. We do not think one would want to live away from the other. So do not forget, if you are the type of person who do not like taking photos and you are considering traveling, you would want to start taking them now, because they are very crucial in this traveling journey. The next thing, if you have children, will be to add the children's birth certificate. Is that enough? Like I said earlier, no, because some of these documents can be gotten if you do not even have children. So beyond the birth certificate, what shows the relationship you have with your children? I mean, their birthdays, being there at their birthdays, taking photos with them on their birthdays, any celebration you've had with them, going out with them in a playground or playing with your children, and taking these casual everyday photos are very, very important, because these are the photos that communicate the level of connection you have with these family members. So it's not just about having family, it's about having family and also being able to communicate your connection to these family members. I hope we all understand, guys. It is very important, and let us not underestimate the role that's played in our visa application. The next thing is your parents. If your parents are still living, your parents, normally you name them and their names are on your birth certificate, right? So if you have any photos with your parents, do well to attach them to your visa application. It shows that you have so much family, you have a bond with your family, and you do not want to be away from them. Then you would ask, what about if I do not have these things? I have probably lost my parents. I am an only child, because your siblings, photos with your siblings is also good. I am an only child. I am not married. I do not have children. What should I do? But if you do not have family ties, then it means that your other ties should be really strong. Or, I mean, where I come from, mostly if you lose a parent, mostly there's someone who takes place of the parent to take care of you. That person, having photos with that person can also be very important. If you belong to any social class, if you have roles in church, I mean, all these things really matter. Okay, so if you play a very significant role in church, the church can give you a letter on the church letterhead. Let me tell you something. Whenever you write a letter with an institution's letterhead, it is not taken lightly at all. So if you play a role, a very important role in church, do not hesitate to request for a letter from your church detailing how your presence is very important to the church, and they are aware of your travel, and I mean, they are waiting on you to come back to continue to play that role, because probably without you, there will be a vacuum that needs to be filled. Okay, so that is also very important. The next thing that I would want to talk about is employment. Are you employed? Are you gainfully employed? How do you prove to the visa officer that you are employed? The number one thing you would want to attach to your visa application is your appointment letter. Okay, after that, you need to, so you're employed. Is your employer aware that you are traveling? So a leave of absence from your employer needs to be added to it to show that your employer is aware you are traveling. Is the traveling in any way going to benefit the company if there is any such relation between the travel, if you are traveling for school and it's for the benefit of the company, then the employer can also add a letter to detail how the travel is very important, not just for you, but for the company at large, and probably how you are tied to the company for a number of years because the company is even sponsoring an aspect of the travel. Okay, so you would want to do that, and also add your pay stubs or your pay slip to the application to show that indeed you are employed with this company and you have a regular salary from them. Yeah, good. Moving on. Or what if you are unemployed? That is a difficult one. I mean, some situations just make some people's visa application more difficult than others. If you do not have these ties, then it means that you will need to go the extra mile. Okay, if you have your own business, then you would need to add a business certificate. If you are self-employed, you need to add a business certificate. No matter how small your business is, most of us in Africa, if we are having businesses and it's not so big, we do not tend to register. Once you are considering traveling, no matter how small your business is, please get a business certificate. It is very important because that is the only way you communicate to the visa officer that I am self-employed. Okay, and then once you present a business certificate, your bank details should look like a business person. I have done a detailed video on bank statements, and you would want to look at it, as I do not want to go so much in details in this particular video so that it will not be too lengthy. Okay, your business, if you're a business person, your bank account should look like a business person's account. So for those of us who like transacting all our businesses on our mobile phones, we use our mobile money, and you do not use mobile money statements when you're applying for visa. So if you're a business person and you are doing all your business on mobile money, then you are doing yourself a great harm, because when you print your bank statement, it will not show that you are a business person. So do well to be transacting business with your bank statement to prove that yes, you do not just have a business certificate, but your bank statement shows that you have money going in and out every day. Okay, yeah, so that is that for business. The next tie that you can also show as being a student. So if you are a young person and you want to have some travel experience, one of the best moments that you can travel, especially since you do not have wife and children to use as ties, one of the best times to travel is when you are still actively enrolled in school. Okay, when you are still actively enrolled in school. So the school comes in as a tie. You are enrolled in school, so you will attach your admission letter, you will attach your enrollment letter, you will probably want to attach your transcripts. I mean, if you're a good student, that means that you are not likely to abandon school just for the journey. Okay, just for travel, you will not abandon school for travel. So one of the best times to travel as a very young person is still while you are actively enrolled in school, because you may not have an employer, you may not have a wife and children, but your school is also a very good tie. Another thing that ties you is social, the roles you play in the society. So I think I've touched on it a bit when I was talking about family. The roles you play in the society, sometimes we really underlook some of these things, but let me tell you guys, when you are applying for a visa, okay, try to look at things from the country you want to go to, their perspective. Now, something as simple as a Sunday school teacher means so much in some countries. So if you're a Sunday school teacher in your church and you are traveling, let the church give you a letter. It's a good tie. Okay, if you belong to a social club, it is a good tie to use when you're applying for a visa. if you have any role in the society, if you are the head of a clan, if you are a chief, if you are an assemblyman, all these things are things that ties you to your community or your society. Let us not take them for granted. I mean, they may be the only reason why you are always receiving a refusal. Add these things to your visa application. I mean, you are better off adding them when they do not need it than not adding them whilst you are even playing these roles. Yeah, so please add them. Add photos, add letters with the society's letterhead, the clan, whatever's letterhead, and then add photos of activities that you have played with them. You have played major roles in activities with them. If it's Sunday school, you've had Children's Week celebration where you were actively involved, and there are photos and videos to show. Kindly do well to add these photos to your visa application, and also get a letter from the church with the church letterhead. Okay, they really go a long way when applying for visa. You do not want to underestimate them. The last thing I would want to talk about is landed property. Landed property. If you have land, if you have buildings, they all tie you to your home country. If you have land, there's a probability that you intend to come back. If you have built a house, if you own houses, there's a probability that you would want to come back to your home country. But you and I know that mostly some of these things can be sold. So the family, I mean the human relationships, matters most when it comes to proven ties to your home country. So family is very important, and in that way the visa officer would know that you will be compelled to come back to your family after your visit ends. So these are some ties. If you know any other tie, home ties that I've not mentioned, please do well to drop them in the comment section. And also, like I said, some of us, just because of some situations we find ourselves in, it's difficult for us to prove these ties because we just do not have them. Probably you've lost your parents. Probably you are an only child. Probably you are not married yet. You do not have any children. You are not employed, but you still want to travel. It is not an easy situation when you find yourself there. But I mean, like I said, church, social activities, and all these come in as strong ties. So if you do not have some ties, try to, as much as possible, have some form of social ties, even if it's not with family, with activities that with some clubs and some roles you play. Okay, try to have this and add them to your visa application to make the process smooth for you. I want to believe we've all learned a thing or two from this video. If you are looking forward to putting in a visa application, I wish you all the very best of that. Okay, thank you so much for staying with me, and see you in my next video. Stay blessed.